everybody. Today my guest is Natasha Lewin. Natasha, congratulations and thank you so much for joining me here in my short shack to talk to you about the film Chatter. How are you? It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you too. I'm okay. It's a little bit of a heavy day, but I'm good. I'm good.
Good. Good. I'm glad to hear that. So so Chatter. First of all, what a beautiful film.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
The visuals, the story, the visuals. It's a very big, deep subject matter, and it's gripping. I wanted to tell you that right away.
Thank you.
Well done. Congratulations. So the film it dives into some deep-rooted insecurities, and how the main character copes with that. Could you talk to me about how you developed this concept and how you came upon making this film? But before that, first I want to say that you're a first-time filmmaker, aren't you?
Yeah, this is my first directorial debut, and yeah, first-time filmmaker. There you go.
Well done.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Chatter was a play before it was a short.
Okay.
In 2017, I won a National Endowment for the Arts Scholarship to put up this play, mm-hmm. And it was longer. It was longer, and it came out of a place of after Robin Williams killed himself when he was 2014. It was 2016, mm-hmm. Robin Williams killed himself. He was, a big idol, of mine. And I am a suicide survivor myself. I tried when I was 16. And nobody ever knew that besides my folks, even my sister. She was away at college. Mm-hmm. And after someone so effervescent and just with a lust for life and so funny and so wonderful and who gave us so much, Robin Williams, after he killed himself, I really took it on my heart that I had to come out of the closet in my own way about my own, past. Right. And Chatter was born. And I think, just because it's personal and obviously the characters are mixed and the characters, have their own battles with religion or race, right. I feel like everyone can relate to feeling not enough or too much of something, right. or whatever, self-doubts that circle us and hold us back at times. So with Chatter the short, it was interesting because, it was my first time as a theater director with the play. And I felt like I had to direct the short as well, just because it was so personal. Right. I'm a writer first and foremost, and that's really where I get my my everything out, on the page. Mm-hmm. So directing was definitely a new skill for me, and I really have a lot of respect for directors because it's very difficult. I found, it's very difficult, especially when you're dealing with something that's close to the heart. Right. And so with Chatter, I wanted to make it. With the play, it was almost like a dark comedy. It's very, touches upon real issues, mental health, suicide, race, religion. But with the short, I didn't want to preach to anyone and I didn't want to teach to anybody. I just wanted to get in and get out. And so it's very short, but it all is one shot. And it was important to me to make it all one shot, even though it's all pretty much in the same right area, because you really don't get a chance to edit when you have those moments. You don't right. get to say, wait a minute, cut to scene, let me get my brain together and then put in this, new scene. So I wanted to make it short. I wanted to make it, have as much impact as possible in just a tiny amount of time. I was really aiming for a minute. I really wanted it to be a minute long, but how filmmaking works, sure. Everything gets stretched from the budget to the time. So it came out of a place where I just needed to get it out from my chest to a place where I felt that now I can make it into something where it's digestible, it's bite-sized enough to make an impact, but not have to have anyone walk away. You know, there's a lot of, especially within, you know, the Black and Jewish community, both which I am a part of,
Right.
a lot of pain porn, if you will. Like there's a lot of, you know, a lot of stuff, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but you know, a lot of Holocaust remembrance, a lot of slavery remembrance, and
Right.
within that is violence. And I wanted to stay away from that because we're already so violent in our own minds.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to really just get in and get out. I didn't want to really get into the nuts and bolts of it. So I'm glad that it resonates with people because it is so short and it is it's a lot of color, you know, from
Absolutely.
from the costumes to the background to the skin tones. There's all different
Right.
ranges of the diaspora. So I'm thrilled to hear that it resonates.
Well,
Yeah.
it absolutely resonates. It's I mean, we've all experienced you know, moments in our lives, you know, self-doubt and insecurity, and one of the things I found fascinating is how you you know, as an actor in my training, one of the things we learned how to do was dissect our emotions and literally one by one lay them on the table like playing a game of solitaire. And what you did there is you literally took out all of those insecurities individually and created a character for each one to reflect on herself.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there was comedy in that, but there was also a little bit of violence in that because she was, you know, very hard on herself and having to deal with that. Now, you said something about color, and I'm very, very big into color in film and why you choose certain colors. And there was something about this film off the bat that just kind of, it struck me. And I remember seeing this. I remember seeing this film from when I was a child, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And then I remembered, wait a minute, Saturday morning specials. And I had this kind of like childhood storybook feel to it. I mean, the color, and I just remembered that sitting in front of the TV and that aesthetic and the texture and the reds reminded me of, you know, the superhero introduction for Saturday mornings on CBS, ABC. And it's just, you really kind of pull everyone into that childhood insecurity that carries us all the way up through being an adult. We're now, okay, great, I gotta face this. And it's such a rich feeling. Now, I just spoke a lot, I apologize.
No, I like to hear the interpretation that you took away from it. And I like the analogy. We're probably the same generation with the Saturday morning specials.
Yes. The one thing that really stood out for me was, and I don't know if you chose this or if it just happened, but they're all in this kind of Saturday morning special inmate pajamas. Mm-hmm. I realized I'm watching this, I realized, wait a minute, is she a prisoner of herself? Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, is it a choice that you made, or did it happen accidentally? Which, as an artist, you never say, yeah, that was an accident. Yes, I meant to do that.
That brilliant part? Yes, that was.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. If it's a camera technique, you just hope you made a note.
Yeah. It was actually, though, it was, it was funny because when I was doing the play, they're wearing the same costumes they were wearing during the play. Okay. But when it was for the play, I really wanted it to be red and white striped because I felt that that was a little bit more almost like holiday and prison. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't find all the red and white stripes. So I got this wonderful purple and red, which I felt like in the play worked very well, but in the short worked even better. Okay. Because they all kind of blend together, like you said, as one character while they're on screen. Right. But it is supposed to be very, and it's also onesies. So they're yes. all kind of stuck in one body. You know, it's not just bottoms and tops. It's one, you know, one whole piece and then broken up vertically like right. a prison. Yeah, so that definitely was intentional, but I didn't know how well it would work in the short, and it actually worked quite well.
Very well, yes.
Yeah, because when they're all together like that, they just kind of look like the monster with a bunch of heads, and that's basically what
Right.
self-doubt is. It's just all of these voices that are not trying to help you. um so I appreciate you noticing that. And for me, with color, I'm a big fan of Spike Lee.
Okay.
I love his color block work, that he's always got. His colors are so important, especially like Do the Right Thing,
Mm-hmm.
and Crooklyn. And then Adventures in Babysitting, Christopher Columbus, the work that he did in Adventures in Babysitting, every character is wearing, like primary yellow, primary blue, primary red. And in some way, fashion, someone's wearing a blue hoodie, but then she's wearing a scarf that's all of those colors. So we're
Okay.
all together. I mean, I just feel like color is such a wonderful use of storytelling
Sure. I mean,
that
it's so important and integral
yeah,
to the individual characters. I mean,
absolutely.
one of the things I like to tell my students is, okay, so what kind of a hat does the character wear? A hat? What color hat does the character wear, and why? I mean, is it a yellow hat? Is it a green hat? What does that mean to that person? And once you put that there as a it's a color on a paintbrush on a painting. In all these little pieces, it's what makes the full picture, and that translates the emotion, whether it be something that you notice obviously, or whether it's something that kind of sinks in subconsciously. It puts it all together that way.
Yeah, and I love that you said, comedy, like sometimes I'll show it and people will laugh, and I love that. I love that people take away a humorous side of it as opposed to just connecting to the really heartbreaking truth side of it. There's also, we also have to laugh at some of the terrible things we tell ourselves.
Yeah, sure.
And so there is a sense of whimsy, if we can look at these moments that we're just so hard on ourselves. I mean, some of the things that I've said in my brain to myself over time, I'm like, wow, wow, that is so funny. Like I have to make sure that I use that in some sense. So yeah, so there is a whimsical sense, and the color was very, very important in that making that.
That's beautiful. It's and that's exciting to be able to see that and make that connection. So you a quick question: how long was the play?
The play wasn't that long. The play was like about 30 minutes.
Okay.
So if that, the play was very short, and but it packed a punch for sure. And there was a lot, obviously, as a play will, a lot more introduction of the characters when they came in at specific times. And then, they're all on stage at the same time. So you have to be concerned what each character is doing on stage while the main character is going through these emotions. So it was short. It was a little less than 30 minutes, but it definitely packed a punch. And I felt like sometimes you don't need to live in those moments any longer than necessary. So
right.
Why have to stretch it?
Right. And it was the same. It was the inner conflict coming out and becoming personified against herself.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's intense. And was it a black box theater? What kind of a?
It was a black box theater. Yeah, it was a black box theater.
I love that. I love that forum. It's my absolute favorite.
Yeah, and all we needed, was a bed. The props were so minimal. I think a notebook and a piece of paper, a pillow, and then a pill at the end, because she kind of ideations. She has like ideations about killing herself because of all the voices start to compound on her. And obviously she does not, she asked for help. In the end of the play, she asked for help to ask for God. So it turns out a little bit more. I used religion. Yeah, I used religion kind of as the through line in the play. But for the short, I brought in a new character. The roommate was a new character that wasn't in the play, to kind of give a break of like what happened. Someone from the outside just sees you crying. If you don't tell them what's going on, no one's going to know.
Right. Exactly.
And so if you don't admit that you're sad, you're never going to get the help you need. You're never going to get better. You can't do it all by yourself.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's it's all wrapped up in there. That's intense.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. I'm like, no, like, yeah, that's it. You know.
Yeah.
Now the credits, which I you know, watching these films and sometimes I don't always get to the credits, and then I got to the credits of the night, and then I watched them a dozen times, which is the other half of the film, in a sense. You dive right back in, and now you internalize what's going on, and I got completely lost. It was beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. It's funny because I didn't have that idea until the film was shot, and I, the credits, I was like, what can we do for the credits? And I was like, I don't want to just go over black or have music. I was like, there has to be hope, there has to be some sort of hope for
Right.
all of us and for yourself. And so having the voices blend of the positive chatter of I am enough, I am smart, I am beautiful, I'm good enough, and then the one that tells you where you can get help, call a friend, talk to a family member, and then the social media, which is the funniest part, well, not the funniest, but I don't have social media. So the fact that it's like, follow us at this or follow us at that, or go to those places, there's nothing that exists. So it was just kind of a way to break from the heaviness of it all, to be able to laugh at ourselves, to be able to laugh at myself.
Right.
And then at one point she's saying the social media, and one of the voices comes out and says, get off social media. So it's like, for your mental health.
Right.
So it worked really well. And that wasn't planned at all. Like the fact that she says, like us at add us a short, or add us at Chatter a short on Twitter. And then she says, get off social media.
Right. I guess, in the end, with the great Zen proverb, there's nothing left to at this moment but to have a good laugh.
At the same time, to preserve your own, well-being, sometimes you need to turn the computer off and
exactly.
Connect. Mm-hmm.
So outside of this film, you've got quite a few accomplishments.
Yep.
Quickly to touch back on the film, this is an Academy Award qualifier, correct?
Yes. Yep. We qualified for the 92nd Academy Awards.
So talk to me about how you got there.
Well, it was just kind of dumb luck. I got lucky enough to get boxed in with a group of shorts that I don't know. Am I frozen? You're frozen on my end, but I can still hear you.
There you are.
Okay, great. Okay. So I got boxed in with a group of shorts that had a run at a Los Angeles movie theater for a week. And so because you have a paid run with paid advertising and all of that, we became an Oscar qualifier, because I just put the short out and festival season was already over. It wasn't even something I was trying to really go for, was going for the Academy Award, but it was funny because then I got to go to the Academy, the actual Academy, and go see all the ones that were the nominees for Best Live Action Short and Best Animated Short, and to find out that there were only, I think, 108 short films, best live action short films, that were considered or qualified. So it's like 10%, no, if 10% of all short films that were made in 2019 became qualifiers. So it was a real big honor that I really didn't know what to do with, because it happened so quickly and wonderfully. And I'm very honored. And then I got to see the Best Live Action Short nominees, and I was like, wow, what a crew to be, considered with. But mine was very short. Most of the Best Live Action Shorts in 2019 for the 92nd Academy Awards in 2020, they were at least over 10 minutes. So I was in good storytelling format.
You're in a good spot.
Company. Yeah.
That's great. That's very exciting. So you also, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're also a former Los Angeles elected official.
Yes. Yes, I am. I was on my neighborhood council. I ran for neighborhood council. I live in an area that when I first moved here, homelessness in LA really skyrocketed. I mean, there's always, excuse me, there's always been homelessness in LA, but when I moved here, it just skyrocketed. And my neighborhood wasn't, you know, they were kind of turning a blind eye to it. And so I went to one of my neighborhood council meetings and was really just blown away by the lack of respect and concern about the matter. So I ran on that platform, and I really hit the ground running. I became a homeless liaison to Mayor Garcetti. I did forums, I had town halls, I advocated, I did everything I could. And just my neighborhood was very much, I was stymied by my neighborhood. But I really took my elected official status to heart. And it's a really hard job, man. Being a filmmaker is hard, and really fighting bureaucracy is really, you know, it's a really hard, I really admire the people who go out there every day. Man, well, they go hand in hand a little bit, you know, to be a good filmmaker, or to be a filmmaker. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're good or you're bad. To go out there and tell a great story comes from somewhere in your heart. Like, it's important to you. And so you're telling the story because it's on your heart and you want to get it out there. It's the same thing with any kind of public service. You've got something that's on your heart and you want to help change that narrative. And so for me, homelessness was very much a narrative that I wanted to change. And yeah, so I and then they extended it a year. It was supposed to be a 2-year term, and they extended it a year because of the elections in 2016. So I was on it for 3 years, and it was a grueling 3 years for sure. I always told my friends, I was at City Hall more than I was at like the grocery store. I was at City Hall like all the time, trying to go to everything I could, learn, meet all the people I could, you know, and just push. And it's really hard. You know, one time a friend told me, like buying a boat. If you buy a boat, as soon as you buy the boat and you drive it off the boat dealership lot, it depreciates in value, because once it goes in the water, you're never going to be able to get it back to any kind of any kind of stature, any kind of anything it was. Like a car you can build back up, but a boat you can't. And I feel like that's like politics. As soon as you get elected, you're already working to get reelected. So it's just like, you know, in between those two times, people aren't thinking about what their promises were, or how they can change, you know, the system, or how they can, you know, help people. They're thinking about how to be reelected. And that's
why they got there to begin with is gone.
Right. And so it's really heartbreaking. So it was really interesting to be, you know, involved in politics for a while. And I'm very much still active in LA politics, but not as I'm not a good mediator. You know, I get angry. I can't hold that in, right? I can't be like, you're wrong. You know, like I can't not say like, you're wrong. And that idea is like horrible. Right. And when you're a politician, you really aren't supposed to do that. You're really not supposed to like be so divisive. So I was like, I'm better on the other side of the table than I am. Yeah. I'm better behind the camera than I am in front of it.
Now, do you see yourself bringing, I'm sorry?
We're going to run out of time in about 2 minutes. So
okay. So I'll wrap it up.
2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. Thanks.
Natasha, thank you so very much for meeting with me. It honestly was a great pleasure talking with you. I wish we had some more time. You're a fantastic filmmaker. I look forward to seeing more of your work and bringing some more of your life accomplishments into what you do in the future. And I'm looking forward to our paths crossing again.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.